Miss Rachel. Can you hear me all right?
I think you have to talk right into that thing.
Yeah.
How about now?
Much better.
A little better? All right. And thank you, Nick, for coming up with this grand idea.
Yeah.
Hello, marvelous crowd. I'd like to read 5 pieces, and I'll begin with the something new. These 3 have a bit of a backstory, and it goes like this. A few years ago, my mother, who was a great internet hound, gave herself a research project to find out what had happened to many of my old beaux. And so within a few days, she'd come up with a lot of information. And among that, she had determined that 3, possibly 4 of my old boyfriends had spent time in jail or in a penitentiary in one case. So I asked her to stop, and she did. But as the months went by, I continued to think about some of these boys or young men, and essentially the mystery that we always are to one another. And that's what I hope comes through in some of these. There's also a motif of birds. The first one is a light. One word, a light. He lands by my open locker door. Yes? Would you? Yes. He calls, we go out. I wear a tropical print blouse. Already he has kissed someone in a lengthy way. This is clear when we pause near our kitchen yard's sole yellow rose bush at evening's end. What I am unprepared for are the smaller kisses across my brow, my closed eyes, my cheekbones. These soft brushes seem superfluous to me. I understand them now as something else. The first feathery movements toward tenderness. Jay Blackbird, often called Jaybird when we were in grade school. Jaybird, Jaybird. And then how quick the skip to its imperfect echo. He appears at my locker, wavy hair carefully combed. He calls. We ride his motorcycle through a sunny afternoon in Greenville Park, joined by another couple, also 15 and 16, who will marry before the year is out, who will have their first child before the following year closes. We agree on a matinee. After, we weave unsteadily up the theater aisle, bang through 2 sets of double doors, stand stunned in the brightness before mounting the cycle. I hold close to Jay's warm back, my belly protected as it presses against him, my outer self pleasurably ruffling with wind. Another long afternoon, we cross the farmland creeks and 2 rivers, the Wabash and the Mississinewa, accelerating at each bridge's end because we can sail. He had used very few words, ever. He does not call. He does not alight. For years I have been away. My mother hears and calls. Jaybird, Jaybird. He'd married a fluffy-haired woman and started in on life. Jaybird, Jaybird. Jay had been arrested, charged, found guilty. Season after season, he had stolen farm equipment in the night. A thresher, a baler, the tractor that pulls the thresher or baler. Pieces difficult to maneuver, even when one is the proper owner in the light of day. Jay had hidden them in the long, silvery barns that angled across his property. He hadn't sold a single machine and hadn't intended to. Kleptomania is a funny thing. He receives a 3-year jail sentence for theft, commuted to community service. Lying awake in the dark, I try to imagine him in the night during those years of taking, rising from his place beside his wife. Silently, he slips past the mongrel's dream of the unguarded pullet. He strides the tarmac road. Swiftly, he rounds the corner of a barn under the waning crescent. He pauses. He assesses. A breeze touches his skin. He runs his hand through his hair. Does he give the massive central door a small shove on its overhead track? The double-hinged door a testing tug, checking and accepting only the oiled? Or did the odd machine left to the outside air attract his attention? And if the key lay on the kitchen table instead of hanging from the tool shed hook, the tactics necessary to pull off such heists, I had never seen such potential in our afternoons. I had remained on the sidewalk, dazed. Wait till the end, if you want. This one features a pair of 6-year-olds. Perched. Can you hear that? Okay. Perched. I paged through the picture book. A yellow and white daisy, a plump sun with robust rays, a peep of chicks pecking at scattered feed, and returned to the cover. The Happy Day book. Inside, he'd affixed strips of words clicked out of a dymo gun. The strips were of black plastic with raised white letters, all capital, all in the right order. To Becky Bloyd, from Jerry Day. He, towhead, missing a pearly tooth, had found a book for me with his name on the cover. What could mean more? Asked his grin. This morning, we were alone in our first grade classroom. The basic reader, We Come and Go, opened across our shoved-together desks. He was to read along with me, 6-year-old plus 6-year-old, while the teachers chatted in the hall. Earlier that week, my brownie troop went for an outing to the local jail. By twos, we were encouraged to walk into a cell, to sit on the edge of the metal bed frame for a moment and study the spare surroundings. Some years later, he would study one, too. We closed the reader and stood up. The teacher had no trouble finding the lifted coins in our desks. We had no grand ideas about where to hide them, or, for that matter, why we'd taken the milk money nickels from an envelope in her top drawer. I had pushed us to get to the end of the story to see if it would be satisfying, and he had no objection. And the last one of this trio features a pair of 20-somethings, and it takes place in the Caribbean. New World Warblers. In the company of yellow birds, parrot, fish, a few friendly locals and outsiders for 3 high seasons and the stormy nor'westers in between, our bodies met, blessed with the flesh of 20-somethings. Ourselves were kept by your quick jokes, evening shifts at the unhurried pace of a 2-star resort. Only your charismatic mother was frantic to make shine. Beneath a 1,000,000-starred sky, you coaxed a tiny moon onto a metal plate secured to the telescope you'd set up by the seawall. Here, you offered. Your eyes shone dark as the New Mexico nights you'd left behind. Here you go, Budgie. Budgie, you'd nicknamed me, warming to the mistake of my name a toddler spoke. Before my island visa ran dry, while yours did not, we took a room in Miami, dank, air conditioner shuddering. Your black hair slipped sleek across my blonde-skinned body. You rose into my face before rocking back, eyes closed, whispering as you had before. Where? Your eyes opened in another room. We didn't speak of it. In the departure lounge at my apartment door near my classroom, through the flat days of my Middle West, I listened for your clear call. After 15 years, you appeared to my retired mother reading USA Today. Your warm self, convicted of fraud and conspiracy, floating an internet pharmacy from a suburban bedroom in the Keys. You, 2 years in the pen, 3 years for the sweet mastermind. Just what relationship did she talk him into? My own mother wonders aloud. Let's try it. How about that? Much better. Thank you. Something from the Cincinnati Review. And this is also part of a collection of poems. It's Handsome, a chapbook put out by Nikki Thompson at the wonderful Deconstructed Artichoke Press here in San Francisco. And all the poems in here feature fingers and thumbs at work and play in very specific places in the world. So this one takes place in Iceland, Aurora, near Old Harbor. Salved against the hours ahead, her slight hands glisten inside the slicker's pockets. Dead of winter, Reykjavik's double shift of dark. Just for the hell of it, she lingers a few on Lavavegur, visitors and locals alike, strung out on night strung out on itself. Gleaming teeth, flash of silver, a flame's reflection on plate glass. Dock's edge, night lowers itself to cold sea. She unclips and unties, deftly guides the small craft until the city glow is next to nothing. After the breathless years, enough now. Bodies suffering, small swells beneath the tricked up sky. And the last one. And this is the oldie. It's from the collection Sea Book. It takes place in the Cayman Islands, and it features this woman right over here. Came in from Australia just yesterday. First time we've seen each other in a dozen years. And this is in terza rima form, so you may hear a little rhyme scheme popping up here and there. No harder than leaving.
I think we got the broken one, Rebecca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't need it, really. No harder than leaving. With a laugh, we parted. Goodbye, Rebecca. She headed off to find supplies for a trip, a one-way long haul to South America. I watched her, black hair swinging, skip. We do need it.
Oh, Dan has.
Always carry your own. No, it just.
Dan Dallin, ladies and gentlemen.
So we had her, black hair swinging. I watched her, black hair swinging, skip around the corner. Only Denise would go by fishing boat. Build a journey from a tip a dockhand shared. There's room, you know. Come on, if you can pinch quarters with the stink of wahoo, the roll below. Denise often said, home's where you wander. She'd known Australia, Jamaica, the U.S. Leaving Cayman, for her, was no harder than leaving the rest. How could she kiss city after country after ocean? Was an Ocho Rios anywhere more or less? The plains of her face, Chinese Australian, are etched for me, deeper than place. Growing up, she'd whispered, oh, to be foreign. Today, she searches her magnificent lace of stories, and in the open work, a Mecca emerges and its necessary way to trace. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to take a 10-minute intermission. I will tell you at 2 minutes when there's 2 minutes left. Please buy more drinks, food. The books are all for sale over here. Please come check them out, mingle, enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
I was feeling lucky. Temperature dropped. Not close to that.
You got a blood in part of your jacket. You know that? Yeah, that'll keep it 70% of the heat
See her, you sitting over there? It's making the round.
Nick, who organized yeah.
I have a good
Oh, we do it at Christmas. Oh, yeah, I took it with us. It's beautiful. It's up on the shelf. This is my friend Adair. This is Don Bogan. He's the That's great. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, I know. But, you know.
thing that, you know, a person does it. I'm not going to climb into the ground.
Yeah. I guess, but then, you know, when she hit the one who was in the penitentiary, so I really cared. The others were there. That's what I asked her to stop, because it was so disturbing to see that happen. Because I so she did, but you can't explain it, and it wasn't anything weird in a way. She just got this notion, what happened if you were to right, but then, not long ago, but let's say it was probably a good 7 years ago. I mean, I didn't write this stuff right away. I just kept kind of turning it around in my head, thinking about it. But, yeah. Well, that's like the lesson of our brownie troop. You know, we'll take you to the jail and don't go into cells because, you know, they're going to be nervous about it. Try to avoid it. And so we have. 1 out of 10 Americans are in jail.
And what's the bad?
Really? Yeah, 1 out of 10. I read that about 2 years ago. Oh, of course, but that's 1 out of Americans in jail. If it's at that level, then, you know, I mean, you need to say more, but something's incredibly screwed up. 1 out of 10.